Hello guys, and welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be recording my devotion, but daily Bible reading, to beginning with the Gospel according to the book of Matthew, and I'm going to be beginning with chapter 1. Now, of course, before I realized that what book I was getting into, I just realized that this chapter is the one that has the genealogy of it. Unless you're really big on doing knowing who's the father of who, the genealogy and stuff like that, I'm not really going to go into it. I'm probably going to skip it. And the major portion of chapter 1 that begins the story begins at verse 17. So, because mostly the genealogy here is just to prove that Jesus is a descendant. Jesus technically descended from the house of David. And from Abraham, and most of that stuff. So right now I'm just gonna begin with chapter 1. Just as a reminder, of course, I'm using the NASB rather than the NIV for the sake of accuracy. And let's begin. Matthew chapter 1, verse 17. So all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations. From David to the deportation to Babylon, 14 generations, and for the deportation to Babylon to the Messiah, 14 generations. Now the birth of Jesus Christ was as follows. When his mother Mary had been betrothed to Joseph, before they came together, she was found to be with child by the Holy Spirit. And Joseph, her husband, being a righteous man and not wanting to disgrace her, planned to send her away secretly. But when he had considered this, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream, saying, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife, for the child who has been conceived in her is of the Holy Spirit. She will bear a son, and you shall call his name Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins. And all of this took place to fulfill what has been spoken by the Lord through the prophet. Behold, the virgin shall be with child, and shall bear a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which translated means God with us. And God awoke from his sleep and did as the angel of the Lord commanded him, and took Mary as his wife, but kept her a virgin until she gave birth to a son, and he called his name Jesus. Alright, that's the first chapter there. Most of this chapter, of course, as I said, is just the chronological proof, as into all the other scriptures saying that Jesus would be a descendant of Abraham and David, and essentially the house of Israel. But most of the other stuff in this chapter is, of course, the beginning of the story of how Jesus was born. I honestly found it interesting that how God decided to have Jesus come in from a virgin, because one of the things that was very niche-y about with the Jewish people at the time was that it was considered very unnatural, or better yet, it would be not like you have a child of the devil, but it was considered very bad manners, you might say, have a child outside of marriage. This, of course, is going over then the idea about particularly with parenting, on the account that you don't really want to have children outside of marriage, because there's no father figure to look over the kids, and that really messes up a kid when he's growing up, that there's no father around or stuff like that. And worse off, the mother has to have the parent needs to have people around to be able to take care of the kid in that case. But what the real thing was, and so because of that, it was considered if you had a children outside of marriage, you would be shunned by the rest of Israel, because it was essentially you're having they called it you would be having a child with the devil and stuff like that. But realistically, you took all that But what the realistic case, of course, is that, like, out of all that shunning that you take, you get to deliver Jesus Christ. But then again, it's I'm not gonna say whether it's a good or bad thing. It's their choice and then what they do with their culture. But that's pretty much most of chapter 1 there. That's gonna be pretty much all for today. Thanks for listening for anyone out there, and I'll have more up tomorrow. And I'll see you in the next one.